Let's talk about how to do real estate investing without the risk. That sounds a little bit like a bit of an oxymoron, right? And that's the topic of today, real estate investing without risk. I'm Dustin.
I'm Corey.
We are 2/3 of the Wholesale Daily Show, bringing you tips on wholesaling, tax lien and deed investing, fix and flipping, virtual real estate, and all that good stuff 5 days a week. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up if you like the content and want to get more of this daily wisdom coming your way. Real estate investing without risk. Is that even possible? And the answer to that is absolutely it is, okay? And one of the easiest things to do, one of the lowest risks things you can do is wholesaling real estate. And the reason that is because some people will do just a $1 earnest deposit. So that means you could make 5, 10, or 20 grand on a real estate deal with just a $1 earnest deposit. Now, I think we use $100, don't we?
Yeah, 100 to sometimes 1,000, but usually 100.
Yeah, normally we use $100, but it's not unheard of to use $1. So, what is the earnest money deposit? Well, if you're going to have a contract, in order for it to be legally binding, there has to be an exchange of some currency exchanged to make the contract legally binding. Therefore, you can take the contract to the escrow company with just $1, and that is a legally binding contract. Now, if you were super eager and you were just driving for dollars and putting like sticky notes on dilapidated, rundown houses, you would go and eventually deals would start to come in. Or another thing you could do is pull the county tax lien list or foreclosure, pre-foreclosure lists, which are free to pull on the county record, and get out and go door knocking. And you could get a deal under contract for little to no risk on this. And we're talking financial risk specifically right now. And that's what's really cool about real estate and the alternate avenues that you can go and do the stuff with is how little risk you can actually do it with. So what are you really risking on this? Well, you're risking, you could lose that $1, that earnest money deposit. We use $100, so we would be at risk losing $100. Mm-hmm. But generally, if we cancel the contract, which we don't really do unless something unforeseen happens, but we would get that money back because it is written into our contract. So for us, there's very little risk on that side. So if you're eager and you want to go and really get into this sort of stuff and put in the elbow grease because you don't have the cash to fund it, you can absolutely do this stuff with little to no risk. It doesn't cost any money to pull a county list. You could go drive properties. If you don't, you could even ride your bike. Pick a neighborhood, ride your bike, go door knocking, and just really have hardly any expenses whatsoever. You could write it down on a piece of paper. In fact, this was one of our strategies is whenever we would go to a property, we would leave a sticky note on doors around and say, hey, I'm interested in buying your house for cash, give me a call. Or even just a simple sticky note saying, please give me a call about your house. And that is one way to really go ahead and do this stuff with virtually no risk. Now, the risk goes up when you start investing money into marketing. We talked about Facebook. We'll talk about Google at one point. But that's where the risk can go up if you don't know what you're doing. Because unfortunately with like pay-per-click, Google AdWords, Facebook, and things like that, you can definitely be at risk of blowing a bunch of money. Say if you accidentally set your campaign to $200 a day versus $20 a day, or $2,000 a day as opposed to $200 a day, and Facebook and Google love to spend your money as fast as you're willing to give it to them, basically. So that's where the risk goes up. But if you want to get into this sort of stuff with little to no risk, then that's a really easy way to go about it. Another really easy way to do real estate without the risk is we're advocates of tax lien certificate investing. Corey, you bought a tax lien certificate for what, $30?
Yeah, I think mine was 70, but there were ones for 30 bucks. Yeah.
So for 30 to 70 bucks, you can buy a certificate that pays you an interest rate of sometimes 18 to 24%. Now, the 18 to 24% interest on $30 to $70 isn't a lot of money, but you're actually becoming a real estate investor and getting to practice small scale, which is really cool. Like, you don't need to get a huge loan from the bank. You don't need to go through all of the rigmarole that comes with putting money into things and worrying. And I think that's a big misconception that people have, is they think they have to put all this money in to really get going. When you look at anything you've ever done in your life that you've gotten good at, you've started with baby steps, right? You crawl before you can walk. You walk before you can run. You take driver's ed before you go drive. Well, you maybe drive in a parking lot or definitely a controlled situation. You don't just get in a car and go driving on the highway. With swimming, you don't just go jump off the high dive and hope to figure it out. You have transition steps along the way. And with real estate, a lot of people just try to take that big chunk and that big bite, kind of the equivalent of jumping into the deep end of not knowing how to swim, and they drown and they get screwed, and then they say, oh, this stuff doesn't work. We're not fans of real estate investing. So what we're recommending is, if you are on a really tight budget, or if you're new or you're afraid, you can get involved with this stuff with little to no risk. Corey, you have any comments on that?
Not many. I think those are really great places to start. Even like on the tax lien route, you can check tax deeds too. Properties, if you need land, you can find land. And I think there's no risk, but there will be work involved in it, which is kind of normal.
Some people don't like that.
Yeah.
What we're trying to develop here is a get-rich-quick pill.
Yes, where it's currently in production.
Yeah, and then we'll be selling that. So
that's where Josh is right now, actually. He's working on that.
That way you don't have to do any work. You don't have to spend any money.
Yeah.
You just take a pill,
yeah,
and you get rich. It's the get-rich-quick pill. So we're working on that. But until then, you're probably going to have to do a little bit of work.
Yeah.
And this is a way to go about it. So, quick turbo episode today on that. And if you have a question, go ahead and ask it in the comments. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great. Click the subscribe button, thumbs up. And we'll see you tomorrow on the Wholesale Daily Show.